welcome back to my channel. It is now April, which means it's time to talk about my TBR for the month. And also I'm going to be sharing some book mail that I've received recently. The last time that I shared book mail was, I want to say February, and I'm so grateful. There has been so much book mail that I've received since then. So we're going to be talking about some of the ones that I received and then which ones I might be adding to my TBR as well. But before we jump into the books, I have to show you my nails. This is my April set. Again, I said do whatever you want, no restrictions, and she made the most fun and exciting set. There's so much happening. There's a lot of patterns, there's jewels, there's color. I'm in love. I love my nail tech so much, so shout out to her. Let's get into the books. First is No Sense in Wishing by Lawrence Burney. This comes out July 8th. It's described as an essay collection from culture critic Lawrence Burney that is a personal and analytical look at his home city of Baltimore, music from throughout the global Black diaspora, and the traditions that raised him for fans of Hanif Abdurraqib, Kiese Layman, and Isaac Fitzgerald. I'm not really drawn to short stories or essays a lot because I find myself asking more questions at the end and I want to know more. That's just who I am as a person. I'm very curious, but this sounded really interesting and it has a really cool cover as well. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And I got this from Atria, my good friends at Atria. Next is Things in Nature Merely Grow by Yiyun Lee. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This comes out May 20th and I got this from FSG. Here's the cover. And it's described as Yiyun Lee's remarkable defiant work of radical acceptance as she considers the loss of her son James. So I'm anticipating that this will of course have to deal with grief, but I'm really curious as to seeing how she writes about grief. I feel like losing a son as a parent must be unimaginable, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. It's a short one, so yeah, it's less than 200 pages, so I can see myself reading it pretty soon. We'll see. Next is a memoir, one of many that I've received. And this is titled This American Woman by Zarna Garg, who is a comedian. This comes out April 29th and it's described as award-winning comedian Zarna Garg turns her astonishing life story into a hilarious memoir, spilling all the chai on her wild ride from escaping an arranged marriage and homelessness in India to carving her own path in America and launching a dazzling second act in midlife. Look at the cover. Are you not drawn to that? So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I think it's been a while since I've read a memoir. Yeah, the last one I read was Firstborn Girl, so I might be picking this one up sooner than later. We'll see. Next is another memoir. This has been on my most anticipated list of the year. And it's titled I'll Tell You When I'm Home, and it's about Hala Alian. I'm not sure, please forgive me. But it's described as a rich and deeply personal debut memoir by award-winning Palestinian-American poet and novelist Hala Alian? If you know how to pronounce that, please let me know. Whose experience of becoming a mother via surrogacy forces her to reckon with her own past and the legacy of her family's exile and displacement, all in the name of a new future. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This one comes out June 3rd. Where did I get this one from? Avid Reader Press. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book in particular. I feel interested to see how she talks about surrogacy in regards to home and defining home. I feel that's a very interesting conversation. So looking forward to reading this one. Also maybe soon, y'all know how I am. We'll see. Next is another book that I have been really looking forward to, and that's Love Spells Trouble by Nia Davenport. She wrote Blood Trials and Blood Gifts, so this is her YA book. And it's described as You Should See Me in a Crown meets Black Girl Magic, literally, in this enchanting, cozy, contemporary fantasy about a reluctant witch caught up in a fake dating scheme. Yeah, I'm sold, I'm locked in. It's YA, like I mentioned, and this comes out in July. I got this from Bloomsbury. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Nia also has an adult romantasy. I think she described it as romantasy, coming out in either October or November called Our Vicious Oaths. So this is coming out in July, then she has another one coming out in the fall, which is crazy. I don't know how they do that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one too. This is a book that I'm low-key scared to read, but I'm also intrigued and excited. And that's Good and Evil and Other Stories by Samantha Schweblin. Hope I'm saying that right. This comes out in September 16th, but it's described as an uncanny, captivating masterpiece from the winner of the 2022 National Book Award for Translated Literature, and 3-time International Booker finalist Samantha Schweblin. 6 lucid, strange, and supple stories to lure us into the shadows so that we may confront the monsters of everyday life ourselves. It sounds interesting. I don't know if I've talked about this here, but something about translated lit, when they write like horror, it's like scarier than like when an American author writes horror. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's language that makes it even more terrifying for me. That's just my experience, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I got this from the good folks over at Knopf, so thank you, Knopf. But yeah, I'm scared, but excited. I'll let y'all know when I read it. Next is a book that I'm really interested in. It's called Lush by Rochelle Dowden Lord. This I got from Bloomsbury, and this comes out in May. They also sent this really cute coaster. Like, look at that, so pretty. May 27th is when it comes out, and they sent a cork. This is the, I don't know if you can see, this is the cork. The cork will make sense once I tell you about the description. So Lush is about an intoxicating debut novel set in the glamorous, exclusive, and unexpectedly raucous world of wine. 4 wine experts, each at a crucial point in their lives, arrive at a French vineyard estate for an unforgettable experience, but not the kind that they expect. Unfolding over several days of indulgence in delicious food and drink, raucous debauchery, and transformative truths that will leave each character changed forever, Lush is a sensuous tour of the wine industry's extreme pleasures and pains, a captivating summer read that, like a fine vintage, will linger long after you finish turning the pages. Again, are you not sold? I'm sold. I've never really read a book that like its focus is wine and being at a vineyard. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm wondering if there'll be like teachable moments of like different wines and things like that, because that's another thing that I have no knowledge about. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one too. It might make my TBR. We'll see. Next is Fireweed by Lauren Haddad. This is another book that has been heavy and high on my most anticipated read. I got this from the good folks over at Astra House, so thank you to them. This comes out April 29th, and it's described as, in the mowed down industrial north of Prince George, Canada, quote unquote, white trash housewife Jenny Hayes shares a fence with the only First Nations woman in the neighborhood, Rochelle, and her 2 little girls. Jenny desperately wants a child and can't understand why Rochelle, with her trash-pocked and overgrown yard, should have what Jenny wants most in the world. But Jenny tries to suppress her judgment, as she has with her mother, Fee, a cougar who chain smokes cigarettes instead of changing the full diapers of her boyfriend's kids, and Missy, her best friend with juicy couture pulled tight over her baby bump and living in an unfurnished McMansion. Instead, she volunteers to babysit Rochelle's girls, brushing hair, folding laundry, and ignoring the stilettos tucked under the bed in Rochelle's disheveled home. But when 2 young women, the strawberry blonde, blue-eyed Beth Tremblay, and Jenny's own neighbor, Rochelle, disappear along Highway 16, only Beth's face and name are plastered on billboards and broadcast on TV. Rochelle's daughters are carted off by the state, and Jenny takes it upon herself to investigate. After all, Jenny thinks, who else is looking for her pariah of a neighbor? Jenny stutters through police encounters, asks the people living on the res all the wrong questions, and ultimately faces alongside the reader the complicated motive behind her quote-unquote investigation. Fireweed asks us, just how good are our good intentions? Again, are you not intrigued by that? I am. Now that I'm reading the description out loud, I might be picking this up a little bit sooner than I thought. Maybe. We'll see. Next up is Big Chief by John Hickey, and this is out now. I was able to grab the finished copy from Simon & Schuster, so thanks to them. And this is described as a gripping literary debut about power and corruption, family, and facing the ghosts of the past. Mitch Cotto, a young law school graduate and aspiring political fixer, is an outsider in the homeland of his Anishinaabe, again, I'm so sorry, ancestors. But alongside tribal president Mac Beck, his childhood friend Mitch runs the government of the Passage Rouge Nation, and with it, the tribe's Golden Eagle Casino and Resort. On the eve of Mac's re-election, their tenuous grip on power is threatened by a nationally known activist and politician, Gloria Hawkins, and her young aide, Layla Beck, none other than Mac's estranged sister and Mitch's former love. In their struggle for control over Passage Rouge, the campaigns resort to bare-knuckled political gamesmanship, testing the limits of how far they will go and what they will sacrifice to win it all. Thrilling and timely, Big Chief is an unforgettable story about the search for belonging to ancestral and spiritual home, to a family, and to a sovereign people at a moment of great historical importance. Again, I'm intrigued. It also seems like an Indigenous author and book, so in wanting to read more Indigenous stories, looking forward to reading this one as well. So if you want to read it together, let me know. Next is a book that has been heavy on my TBR list as well, and that's Authority by Andrea Long Chu. I got this from the good folks over at FSG. They sent me the finished copy. It's out now. So this is Authorities about, or subscribed as, in two magisterial new essays, Chu offers a fresh intellectual history of criticism's crisis of authority, tracing the surprisingly political counters of the discipline from its origin in the Enlightenment to our present age of social media. The desire to recover some lost authority, she argues, is neither new nor particularly freeing. Rather than being taken in by an endless cycle of trumped-up emergencies over the state of our culture, Authority makes a compelling case for how to do criticism in light of the actual crises, from climate change to rising authoritarianism, that confronts us today. So this is another essay collection. I'm really pushing myself here, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I think cultural criticism is important to where we are right now and the world that we're in. I think it's a conversation starter for many reasons. Maybe it can also, what she has to say will open up my worldview, which I think is really important again, especially in the world that we live in right now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one too. This is a book that, when it was announced, I was so excited, and now I have it. And that is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. I read the first one, which was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and it was just so fun. Vera Wong is so hilarious and a little bit outrageous in a way that is so endearing. So I love this. I think I've mentioned this before. I love Jessie Q. Sutanto. I think I've read majority of her catalog at this point. So I'm really, really excited to read this one to see what Vera Wong gets into in this book. But yeah, I picked this up from the bookstore. I was just so excited to have it because she's so fun. She's so fun. And lastly, this is the last book that I picked up that I was truly shocked that, not even that no one sent it to me, but that nobody thought to gift it to me. Like, I was almost slightly offended, but not really. And that is Fresh Sets by Tembe Denton-Hurst. Who else should have a book like this other than me? But I'm really, really glad that I have it. It's so beautiful. Here's the back. I'll read the description to you. Getting a fresh set of nails means something different to everyone, but whatever style you choose, it's a form of self-expression with limitless possibilities. This book puts hundreds of examples of today's most exciting nail art at your fingertips, featuring the work of 35 professional manicurists who are making a name for themselves in cities like New York, Los Angeles, London, Berlin, Paris, Tokyo, Seoul, and more. From Japanese street style to Mexican folk art, chic runway looks to over-the-top 3D sculpture, glimmering gems, slimy insects, and hand-painted dreamy moonscapes, Fresh Sets celebrates making a bold, creative statement on any tiny canvas. Oh, I just opened it to try to show y'all a page, and I opened it to one of my favorite nail artists. This is Crow Vargas, if I'm saying her last name right, but she does these like vintage nail salon type nails, like the ones that you would see hung on the wall with the curves and like, you know, like the flowers and things like that. Like that's kind of her style, and I've always admired that. Here's some more examples. So yeah, I'm so glad that she's in this book. It's so funny that that was the first person that I flipped to because I love her work. And then there's people in here that I've never seen before. Like, look at these. So cool. So this was heavy on my TBR list for April, obviously. I'm really glad I have it. I feel like this will be a really cute coffee table book. I do love coffee table books. They're just expensive, so I get them every once in a while. But this one I obviously needed. This was the last book that I got, I guess, in the past couple of weeks. All right, now, if you've made it this far, thank you. Now it's time to get into my April TBR. Again, the only parameters that I give myself is that I try to read at most 10 books. And low-key, sometimes I'm like, oh, like I can easily do that. I don't know. I feel like my TBR this month is a little ambitious. Will I read all of them? I don't know. We'll see. Let's get into it. First up is my book club pick, which is the Hot Girl Book Club. If you are interested in joining a book club, the link is in the description. We'd love to have you. But yeah, we are reading The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalami. This was also a book that I was so interested in reading this year, and I'm listening to the audio. I think I have about 2 hours and some change left. This book is spooky, and not spooky in like Halloween, haha spooky, like spooky as like, oh, there is a world where what is happening in this book could easily happen in the world that we live in right now. And that feels very spooky to me. Let me read the description so you can understand why. Sarah has just landed at LAX, returning home from a conference abroad, when agents from the Risk Assessment Administration pull her aside and inform her that she will soon commit a crime. Using data from her dreams, the RAA's algorithm has determined that she is at imminent risk of harming the person she loves most, her husband. For his safety, she must be kept under observation for 21 days. The agents transfer Sarah to a retention center where she's held with other dreamers, all of them women trying to prove their innocence from different crimes. With every deviation from the strict and ever-shifting rules of the facility, their stay is extended. Months pass, and Sarah seems no closer to release. Then one day, a new resident arrives, disrupting the order of the facility and leading Sarah on a collision course with the very companies that have deprived her of her freedom. It is described as eerie, urgent, and ceaselessly clear-eyed. The Dream Hotel artfully explores the seductive nature of technology, which puts us in shackles even as it makes our lives easier. Leilani asks how much of ourselves must remain private if we are to remain free, and whether even the most invasive forms of surveillance can ever capture who we really are. Let me tell you something. Heavy on the eerie. Heavy on the eerie. There's a lot of conversations that, of course, are running through my mind as I'm listening to this book. And again, it is about surveillance. It's about technology. It's about just how there are really no parameters to it right now. Because it has no parameters, what does that mean for us as citizens in this world? Like, what does it mean for us in regards to privacy? How much can we argue for our privacy in the world that we live in right now, where it seems like privacy is almost a luxury? The dream part of it, I think, feels scary because you can't control your dreams. How can that be used against you, right? Like, logically, that makes sense, but anything is possible in the world that we live in right now. I think many things have proven that, and that's what makes this book feel very scary. So yeah, this is my book club pick for April. I'm really looking forward to having the discussion with the folks in the club because, again, there's a lot to discuss in this one for sure. So yeah, it's made me terrified. Did I read several months early because I was too excited? Yes, and that is The Wilderness by Angela. I never know how to say her last name. Flournoy? Angela, if you see this, I'm so sorry if I said it wrong. So what's interesting about it is that when I was making my most anticipated list of the year list earlier this year / last December, they didn't have a cover for this book yet, but I was like, cool, Angela's writing a new book. She wrote The Turner House, which is a book that came out quite a few years ago at this point. So it's been a while since we've heard from her. And in the, I think the editor's note, she mentioned like, you know, she's had so many life transitions since then. And, you know, that is somewhat reflected in this book, and that's absolutely correct. Let me read the description to you and then I'll give a brief review. So it's described as an era-defining novel about 5 Black women over the course of their 20-year friendship as they move through the dizzying and sometimes precarious period between young adulthood and midlife. In the much anticipated classic in the making second book from National Book Award finalist Angela Flournoy. Again, this book is small. I don't know how she was able to fit so much, about 5 different people in this book. The basis of it is these women in this book are basically friends from their 20s to their 40s. As you know, 20s to 40s, it's a lot of life transitions, it's a lot of life lessons. You're going through so many different things, and you know, she's describing it as the wilderness basically, where you're kind of in the space where you don't know enough, but you do know enough to try to make it through, but you're having to do a lot of that by yourself, but then like you're doing it in community with people that are going through the same thing or different, and you're trying to figure out ways to support each other. I don't know if that makes any sense, but this book was so good. Like, every character made sense to me. Every character felt like a real person, and this felt like a real friend group. They're all navigating through life's challenges in ways that they're not sure of how to handle, and then the friend group is trying to support each other, but like in a way that is like limited sometimes because of what they're going through, but is also maybe expansive at times because of what they're going through as well. It's so interesting. But yeah, I love this book. Unfortunately, it doesn't come out till September. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't jump me. However, you can put it on your TBR or pre-order it now. I mean, look at the cover. She's stunning. This is from Marrier Books. Shout out to them. Shout out to Eliza specifically. You're the best. I love this book. This book is one of my top reads of the year, for sure. Again, I don't want to say too much because it's going to come out so much further away than we are right now, but it's a really, really, really good book. The themes present are grief, depression, postpartum depression, race is discussed, class is discussed. But yeah, Angela has such like a particular like scope on each character that she's able to draw out and write their like darkest thoughts or their innermost thoughts in a way that like she's saying a lot of things that people have probably felt but have been too scared to say. And I think that that's such a gift. I can go on and on about this book, just trust me. I'm gonna remind y'all in September when it comes out. I'm so sorry. It's on my top for the year, hands down. Next is The Devil Three Times, which I have talked about before. I talked about this one in my TBR cart organization video, but I think I'm ready to read it. As a reminder, here's what it's about. Yetunde awakens aboard a slave ship en route to the United States with the spirit of her dead sister as her only companion. Desperate to survive the hell that awaits her at their destination, Yetunde finds help in an unexpected form, the devil himself. The devil, seeking a way to re-enter the pearly gates of heaven, decides to prove himself to an indifferent god by protecting Yetunde and granting her a piece of his supernatural power. In return, Yetunde makes an incredible sacrifice. Their bargain extends far beyond Yetunde's mortal lifespan over the next 175 years. The devil visits Yetunde's descendants in their darkest hours of need. Lucille, a conjure woman, Asa, who passes for white, Louis and Virgil, who risk becoming a 20th century Cain and Abel, Cassandra, who speaks to the dead, James, who struggles to make sense of the past while fighting to keep his family together, and many others. The devil offers each of them his own version of salvation, all the while wondering, can he save himself too? Steeped in the spiritual traditions and oral history of the Black diaspora, The Devil Three Times is a baptism by fire and water, heralding an exciting new voice in American fiction. Again, ooh, so much, right? I'm looking forward to reading this one a lot. So I was like, it doesn't come out until May 13th, but I was like, I want to read it before then. So yeah, I might actually start this today. I need to finish a book first, but I might start it tomorrow. But yeah, this is also on my April TBR. Oh, I'm so excited. That description got me even more excited. Anyways, yeah. I'm also adding Lush, which I talked about in my bookmail part of this video. I'm intrigued by it. The whole like winery of it all, I don't know. It's really doing something for me. So I'm gonna be adding this to my TBR. This is kind of like one of those that's like, if I get to it, cool. If I don't, also cool. That's how I feel about it. Next is a book that I've already started. Oh, and it's so good so far. It's funny, but it's also necessary, I think is the word I want to use. Important, I think specifically for Black people to read. And that's, sorry, the title is That's How They Get You, and it is by Damon Young. I got this from Pantheon. This comes out June 3rd. As you can see, I've already started it. And look, my local bookstore Kinja always made these bookmarks. Isn't this the cutest thing you've ever seen? Right, so yeah, I started this morning. I read the prologue. I was like, oh, I'm locked in. And the first story, because it's an anthology of Black humor, so the first story was written by Hanif Abdurraqib. Unfortunately, I can't quote any lines because this is not a finished copy yet, but Hanif had a line about grief that actually took my breath away. It was so fascinating. When the final copy comes out, I'll remember to come back and tell you guys about it. But yeah, so far, so good. A critic explores the paradox of finding community in the dozens. While grieving, a violent town ritual causes an all too familiar moral panic, an email thread between friends on why we need an updated green book but for public toilets, all across the nation, Karens becoming legal overnight. These are just a few of the hilarious worlds contained in Damon Young's groundbreaking anthology featuring the best, funniest, and blackest essays, short stories, letters, and rants. With words that roast, ignite, and burn, while connecting to and coalescing around a singular thesis, That's How They Get You emphasizes how and why Black American humor is uniquely transfixing. This is a mixture of not just observational anxieties and stream of consciousness, lucidities, but also acute political clarity about America. Edited and with an introduction by Damon Young, the critically acclaimed author of What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker, the collection features new material from an all-star roster of contributors. And when they say all-star, I mean all-star. Like there's Mahogany Brown is in here, Kiese Lemon, Disha Philyaw, Joseph Earl Thomas, Mateo Escarapor. So I'm definitely reading this. Again, I've already started. Because it's an anthology, I feel like I can get through it pretty quickly, but my goal is to maybe read like one story or essay a day. We'll see if I stick to it because who knows with me. But yeah, this is also on my TBR this month. I don't have an actual reason as to why I was waiting to read it. Yeah, I don't know what took me so long, but that's Zeal by Morgan Jerkins. I think this comes out on the 22nd. Could be wrong, don't quote me. It does come out sometime in April though. I am maybe only 20 pages in, but the prologue really drew me in. This one I was like, oh yeah, I have to read this month. I need to know what happens. Let me read the description. Harlem, 2019, Ardelia and Oliver are hosting their engagement party. As the guests get ready to leave, he hands her a love letter on a yellowing, crumbling piece of paper. Natchez, 1865, discharged from the Union Army as a free man after the war's end, Harrison returns to Mississippi to reunite with the woman he loves, Tirzah. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Upon his arrival at the Freedmen's Bureau, though, he catches the eye of a woman working there who's determined to thwart his efforts to find his beloved. After tragedy strikes, Harrison resigns himself to live with her, or to a life with her. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, the newly freed Tirzah is teaching at a freedmen's school and discovers an advertisement in the local paper looking for her. Though she knows Harrison must have placed it and longs to find him, the risks of fleeing are too great, and Tirzah chooses a life of seeming security right in front of her. Spanning more than 150 years, Morgan Jerkins' extraordinary novel intertwines the stories of these star-crossed lovers and their descendants. As Tirzah's family moves across the country during the Great Migration, they challenge authority with devastating consequences, while the legacy of heartbreak and loss continues on in the life of Harrison's progeny. When Ardelia meets Oliver, she finds that his family's history is as full of secrets and omissions as her own. Can their connection be a cosmic reconciliation, satisfying the unfulfilled desires of their ancestors, or will the weight of the past, present, and future tear them apart? Are you not intrigued by that? Right. When I was talking to a friend that has read it, she described it as a love song for Ricky Wilde, but not funny. And I was like, okay. She's like, she loved it. It was great. So yeah, I started this one, very much so. Going to be reading it this month. Next is Jamaica Road, which I did talk about starting in March, but I didn't get a chance to finish it. So this is my chance. To be honest, I have not picked it up since I started reading it. So this is also one of those where it's like, will I get to it? I hope so. It comes out July 15th, so I do have time. And as a reminder, this is a transformative love story about two best friends who fall for each other, fall apart, and try to find their way back together in their tight-knit British Jamaican community. So far, the two main characters have just met, and we're kind of talking about like the way race shows up in Britain so far. So that's been pretty interesting, and like, you know, what it's like to be the only two Black students at an all-white school. So yeah, pretty interested so far. I just like I've been distracted, so I haven't picked it up. But yeah, this one is definitely going to be read. Well, not definitely. Hard maybe going to be read this month. The last 3 to make 10 would be the books I talked about before. So that's Things in Nature Merely Grow, Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man, and lastly, Authority. I feel like I can read all of these books this month, but I don't know. It's been hard to like sit still enough to read as much as I do read. So I've really slowed down this past week. I don't know. We'll see. Is this pretty adventurous? Yes. I don't know if I can get through all of them, but if I do, I'll let y'all know regardless. But yeah. All right. If you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you for listening to me yap for however long I have been talking. As you can see, got a lot of cool book mail coming in. Again, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to even receive book mail. Like, Little Wale is like so confused by this, but also so grateful. Such a dream to like look in the mail and have books there waiting for me. Love it. You can't beat book mail. So that's that. And then I've got my TBR ready to go. As y'all know, I need a TBR because if not, I look at all the books that I want to read and then I get overwhelmed. So the TBR has been helping me stay balanced, I guess. And then also giving myself the cap has also helped me stay balanced as well too. Not reading more than 10 books a month has actually been so good for me. Who knew? Normally I'm reading like 14. At most 16 books a month, and that's fine too, but I find that I'm able to kind of like savor them a little bit longer by spacing them out in a way that I do have more time to just focus on 10 rather than trying to meet 14 and 16 and getting through books really quickly, because at the end of the day, I'm reading because I want to and I'm reading because I can, right? So like, why am I rushing that? It's a busy month. If you are reading any of the books that I mentioned on my TBR, or if you received any of the same book mail, let's talk about it. And if you're looking for a buddy reader, let me know. I'm open to that. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.